It's Ash from Super Videos back for another video for Fear the Walking Dead. This is going to be a video doing a breakdown on the official trailer for the season 5 of Fear the Walking Dead. Now I gotta be honest with you, I didn't even think I would be doing a breakdown for Fear the Walking Dead, but after I watched the trailer, it was absolutely epic, and that's why I'm doing a breakdown. Now that's exactly why I actually didn't do a reaction to the trailer, because I didn't really think there would be too much there for me to react to, but I will definitely be doing a trailer breakdown. Like I said, there's a lot to talk about, so let's jump right into this. We have the trailer starting with this shot of everyone, and this is actually a flashback in a way. It's not actually from season 5, that's what I'm trying to get at. This was the very last scene, or one of the very last scenes that we saw in season 4. We have Morgan and friends in a way, or Morgan and gang. Morgan in the voiceover is saying, "Don't know if any of you are out there, don't know if any of you are listening," and we have these different shots of the different characters, and again, these are shots that are taken straight from the last episode of the previous season, so it's not from the new season, I don't think. Then we have this shot of Althea, and then this shot of everyone. Again, like I said, these are shots of the very last episode, I think. And then in the voiceover, Morgan says, "If you are," so if you're basically still out there, hang in there. And then we have this shot of Alicia and Strand, and then this shot of Morgan. That's exactly where the voiceover is coming from. That's what he's basically broadcasting. He's telling everyone, hoping for everyone to hear. He says, "We're coming for you." And then we really get into scenes from the new season, I think. We have this shot of some walkers on the road. The truck comes in and hits one, and the SWAT truck, or Althea's SWAT truck, hits the other, which is pretty cool. Then we have this shot of some walkers, and we have some smoke in the background, and that shot is directly related to this one. And then this shot, which is also related. Now what I found very interesting was that this had a cool Easter egg, or it looked very similar to a lot of shots that we saw on The Walking Dead's original. One in particular with Sasha on top of the dead bodies back in season 5, I think. That's like a direct replication of that. Not saying they copied, but I just thought that was interesting that these two match almost perfectly. Then we have this shot of some bones. Then we have this shot of Alicia, and in the voiceover, Morgan is saying, "We've been doing this for a while, this helping people, and we haven't had a whole lot of luck." So he's basically saying, we've done this for a while, trying to find people. We haven't had a lot of luck. We couldn't find a lot of people. We have John here, Morgan here, and this new character here, which I will show in the next shot. But one thing I do want to say is that this hints that there will be some sort of time jump, because at the end of last season, they were just getting into trying to find people, and that story was just starting. So the fact that Morgan is saying we've been doing it for a while means that there's definitely going to be some sort of time jump, or it's hinting at that. And then we have this shot of the new character that we just saw, or I pointed out at. So it seems like John, Morgan, and the others, not sure who's going to be with them when they find these people, but they're going to find or come across a new group. Mostly children, it seems. And it's going to be interesting to see what they do with them. But this is most likely their main leader, or the main character we're going to see from that group. We don't know who she is. We don't know the name or anything like that. Then we have this shot of Alicia and Morgan coming across this roadblock that says, "Danger, keep out." That's very cool and interesting. I don't know if the new group set this up or something, but it's definitely interesting. But what's also interesting is that Alicia seems to have her signature weapon back. That's pretty cool. And keep your eyes open for these warning signs. They will come into play later. Then we have this shot of a van. And then we have these heads, and they're hanging from the trees. That's very interesting. That's creepy looking. But in the background, we have the new character who we just saw. We don't know her name. She says, "You have no idea where you've landed, do you?" That's very interesting. I don't think this has anything to do with the Whispers or anything like that. Although it does have some similarities, the way she's saying it and what we know with the Whispers. But it's definitely interesting. Then we have this shot of Morgan looking through a window. And then this shot of Alicia looking through a fence, and Morgan and the others can be seen in the background. John is right there. Then we have this shot of John pointing his gun at someone, and then this shot of Althea, and then this shot, which I absolutely loved, of these walkers. This is the same sort of roadblock that we've seen on The Walking Dead season 6, episode 16, which is pretty interesting. But they're not connected with chains. They're connected with their own intestines. But in the voiceover, we have Morgan saying, you can trust us, you don't have to be afraid. But one thing I do want to kind of mention again is this, like I said, seems to be a direct Easter egg for what we saw in the finale of season 6 of The Walking Dead's original, with the walkers on chains and the roadblock. This was right before Negan was actually introduced on The Walking Dead's original show, which is pretty cool. Then we have this shot of the new character again talking. She says, that's exactly what people say when there's something to be afraid of. And this goes back to what Morgan said, you don't have to be afraid. I don't know what to expect with this new group. I don't think they're a bad group because we do see a lot of shots with this group and Morgan and the others working together. At least to start the story, they're not going to be the villains. They may turn into them later on. Then we have this shot of, again, another walker with intestines, keeping it in place and connecting it to the other walkers. This is also connected to the other shot that we saw earlier on. Then we have this shot of Althea, John, Morgan, and, again, this new character. One thing to keep in mind is that they seem to be going somewhere. This is the same van that we also saw in one of the previous shots, but I think they're most likely looking at the roadblock with the walkers connected with the intestines, that scene. But the fact that this character is with them leads me to think maybe she's trying to get them to where her community is or where the rest of her people are. Then we have this shot of this bird cage with some crows, it seems, inside, some walkers trying to get to it. This shot is going to come back into play later on in the trailer, but I'll get to that when we get there. Then we have this shot, which is an interesting one. I don't know what it is. It seems like it's some sort of plastic bag or something, but there's walkers inside. I don't think it's smoke. It doesn't seem like it's smoke. But in the voiceover, we have Luciana saying, this place. And then this shot of Luciana shooting someone. And then this shot of, again, Luciana. She says, and this is the rest of her dialogue. She says, we can't stay here for long. So it seems like maybe they do find some sort of location, but they can't stay there forever. Then we have this shot of Althea. She's definitely injured. Then we have this shot of this new character, another new character, and I think he's from the same group. Then we have this shot of another kid, most likely from the same group. And in the voiceover, a female voice says, down. And that's when we have this epic reveal of a plane. That's pretty cool. Something new for the Walking Dead universe. It makes season 5 of Fear the Walking Dead more interesting, and it makes it have a feel that's more unique, which is definitely interesting and cool. Then we have this shot, which I absolutely love. We have someone loading a gun. Strand says, can we just take a breath? I am aware I have a distinctive temper. Hearing it now, seeing my face, removing all doubt, you may be inclined to instantly pull the trigger. And I don't know why I have trigger twice. I think it's because he was going so fast I was trying to type everything quick. But continues to say, perhaps involuntarily, Pavlovian response of self-defense. So can we just take a breath before we begin? And that's where we get the epic reveal of Daniel Salazar. I love this. He says, you still talk too much, Victor. And then we have like a gunshot, but it could just be the music. I'm not sure. But very interesting. I don't think he's going to shoot Strand, but it's very interesting. Now, if you don't know, the last time we saw Daniel, he was presumably dead. Like we saw Victor Strand shooting him in the face. Remember that? That's why these two have beef. There's a history there. Then we have this shot of some walkers and this sort of ghost town or this western type of town, which I absolutely love seeing. Morgan in the voiceover is saying there's no way to really protect yourself. And this shot of John, then this shot of Althea, they're in the same sort of western town. Morgan says you can't really put a weapon between you and losing people. I think most likely Morgan at this point is talking to the new group, to the kid that we just saw. But he could be talking to just about anyone. Then Morgan says you can't even run away from them either, referring to the people you love, obviously. And then this shot of Morgan killing this walker. Now, pay attention to the birdcage. That seems to be close or similar to the other birdcage we saw. It's not the same one. It's smaller. So I wonder if these two are from the same area. And I wonder if there's someone there that's putting these there. And I wonder if this is also related to the new group that we're going to be introduced to. Then we have this shot of Charlie, I believe. Morgan in the background is saying, I'm telling you this because I tried. And obviously he's talking about having to protect the ones you love. Then we have this shot of Charlie finding this plane. I think this is the same plane that we saw before. So maybe Charlie and someone else are on there. Maybe Althea. There's another shot that we will see later on that hints at Althea being the pilot of the plane. And it's very likely that Charlie is also going to be there with Althea. Then we have this shot of Morgan, I think, or John. We have Morgan saying a way out is opening the door. And obviously he's just talking to someone, not sure who, but probably the new group. And he's trying to get through to them. But then we have this shot of them trying to fix this antenna or something. Most likely this is related to them trying to contact people. And I think they're just trying to fix that. We see that here as well. Then we have this shot of Luciana and this kid. They're high-fiving each other, most likely after they brought up the tower. Then we have this shot of, I think, Alicia or maybe Charlie. And then this new guy, I don't remember his name. We have Strand and we have Sarah, and they have this cat. Now this cat will come into play later, so keep your eyes open for that. Pretty interesting. Seems like The Walking Dead has a dog and Fear the Walking Dead has a cat, which is pretty cool. Then we have this shot of Althea trying to climb a mountain, it seems. Morgan says to possibility, still part of his conversation. So he's saying, open the possibility to unite people, basically. Then we have this shot of a group of kids, most likely from the same community. And then this shot of one of them reading this book. Then we have this shot of the same group walking through this kind of area that's being burned down. Then we have this shot of Morgan and Alicia on the ground. This looks like maybe it's after some sort of explosion, which does also connect to the previous shot. Morgan says to the hurt that will happen. So, you will have a possibility, you will have hope. That's basically his message, that we can all unite, everyone can be happy, everyone can work towards a happy future. That's basically his message at the end of the day. Then we have this shot. I think this is either John or Dwight. I'm leaning more towards Dwight. I think this could be Dwight, which is pretty interesting. Then we have this shot of him putting this down. This is actually in the same ghost town or the same western town that we saw earlier. So means that it could also be John that we're seeing here. But I think it's Dwight. I have a feeling it's Dwight. Then we have this shot of this guy. He opens the compartment to the machine gun that they have. Then they open fire. And then this shot of the SWAT car. And then this shot of Charlie and this guy. We have this shot of the truck going through the walkers. And then, again, the machine gun that they have. This doesn't look like the one that's in the actual car or the SWAT truck. So it could be from a different place. Then we have this shot of Al shooting someone. And then this shot of John. And then this shot of Althea. This shot of Alicia. Now, pay attention to the sign here. Remember the signs that I referred to earlier on in the trailer breakdown? I think this is connected. Not saying this is the exact same spot, but this is connected. Then we have this shot of someone killing some walkers. Then this shot of Althea. Now remember I said it seems like Althea is the pilot or something hinting at that. That's the hint. I think Althea is the pilot to the plane that we saw earlier. Then we have this shot of some walkers with their intestines connecting them together. It's a pretty weird shot, but I think this is connected to this also. Then we have this shot of the cat, same cat that we saw earlier. Then we see these walkers behind a window. Then this shot of Luciana. Now Luciana seems to be shot. That's interesting. See the bullet hole right there? Luciana seems to be shot. There's multiple scenes that are hinting at that. Then we have Luciana in the background saying, "When will I be able to play the accordion?" Just a lighthearted dialogue in the trailer right there. And June says, "You play the accordion." Obviously this is wrong. It's June, not Luciana, but you get the point. Then we have this shot, which is also connected to the earlier shot we saw with Morgan and Alicia. This shot of Althea trying to untie herself. So maybe they're kidnapped, maybe they're captured. Maybe the new group has something to do with that. This shot of June looking through a crack. Then this shot of some survivors. Again, this roadblock walkers. And this does connect to this scene again. Then we have this shot of Althea. And this shot of Morgan, John, Alicia, and June right here. And Luciana. Take a look at the background. We see Luciana. She seems to be hurt. And I think this is after she heals up. After being shot. Then we have this shot of Morgan killing a walker. Alicia killing a walker. And Strand, I think, killing a walker. And then this shot, which I just kind of mentioned. Luciana is shot. They're trying to save her. Obviously, she survives, but that's what this is most likely. Again, these two shots are connected. with this one that we see. Then we have this shot of them going through a herd of walkers, maybe the same herd or the same roadblock walkers, and then the window breaks. So they go through the herd, the window breaks. Now pay attention to this. It seems like maybe these are connected. Then we have this shot of John killing a couple of walkers. This seems like a Western. This definitely does, especially with the background and the smoke and the Western look of the buildings. Absolutely love that. Very excited to see what this is about. Then John turns around and someone points a gun at him. I think this is the same guy that we saw earlier. Remember, he put down the shotgun? I think it's the same guy. And I'm leaning more towards this being Dwight. Then we have this shot of Sarah saying, "You missed the reel." And I can't quite understand what she says, but Moat today, Jimbo, talking to Jim, who died last season. And that's a picture of him, I think. Then we have Morgan saying, "It's not supposed to be easy." But we have Morgan actually taking off his ring, which is interesting. And I think it's raining and he has no shirt on, which is pretty interesting. Morgan says, "You can't just pick up a walkie, say we want to help, and that's it." And we have Alicia here. Morgan says, "It should be hard." So just trying to stress the fact that it's not going to be easy, but we still want to try to contact people and try to help people. And we have June here. Morgan says, "Maybe that's how we know we're on the right track." Going back to what he said before, which is, it's going to be hard. Maybe that's how we know that we're on the right path. Then we have this shot of June and John, and then this shot of them as well. John says, "I'm starting to think maybe we've got all the luck in this world." And obviously that's connected to, I think, their romance and everything. We have Althea hugging Morgan, and this shot of Morgan and Alicia. Alicia says, "My mom did so much to make sure we were standing here." Pretty cool reference to Madison. This shot of Luciana, who appears to still be hurt right there. Gunshot, I think. Then we have June here. We have Alicia here, John and Morgan. Then we have John and June hugging each other here. And this shot of Alicia. And this shot of June drinking some vodka, I think, with John. Then we have John and June again. And John here. Then we have this shot of Alicia with her weapon. So her weapon is back. Her signature weapon is back. We see a bunch of walkers. And take a look here. This seems to be that same plane after it crashed. Now, if Althea was on the plane, that's interesting. I'm not saying Althea's gonna die, but it's interesting. If she's the pilot, she might be hurt. Then we have this shot of Alicia, the new character, Althea, John, June, Morgan, and someone here. I think this is most likely Luciana, who may have been just shot or something. Then we have this shot of someone. Now, I get a lot of Breaking Bad vibes from this. I haven't watched Breaking Bad, but obviously this is a very, very iconic scene from Breaking Bad. Even if you don't know Breaking Bad, you know this shot of Breaking Bad that looks similar to this. I think there's a very good chance this scene could be connected somehow to a bigger storyline that we're gonna see, which is gonna connect to the TV show and the Rick movies. I might talk about that later, but that's definitely an interesting shot. Then we have this shot of a walker, this shot of the plane that seemed to have crashed. It's the same one. Now again, if Althea is the pilot, she might have been hurt. Then we have this shot of Alicia trying to cut through the intestines of the walkers that were blocking the road, which is this one. And then this shot of a walker, Morgan killing walkers, John killing walkers, and Alicia killing walkers. And again, June cutting through the ropes or the intestines. And that's also connected to this shot. Then we have this shot of Morgan and Alicia killing walkers. And this shot of Dwight in the background saying, "Morgan." Morgan turns around surprised. Dwight right there. Absolutely epic reveal. I love this reveal of Dwight. Morgan asks Dwight, not believing his eyes. And then June asks, "You two know each other?" And we have Morgan smiling here. And that's it. That's the end. And then we know June 2nd is going to be the premiere for Fear the Walking Dead Season 5. Now, this trailer was absolutely epic. I am excited about the new season. I'm not saying that my expectations are high, but I'm excited. I hope I'm wrong. I hope this season is going to be a good one. But if the last few seasons have been anything to go by, I think it's just a lot of hype, but it's not going to really pay off. I hope I'm wrong. For those of you that don't know, I'm not going to be doing a lot of Fear the Walking Dead videos for Season 5. However, I've decided that I will be doing reactions and trailer breakdowns or promo breakdowns for upcoming episodes. But no reviews, no predictions, nothing like that. That's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you next time for another super video. If you like what you see, press like, subscribe for more content, and press the bell button to receive notifications for daily uploads.